Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2023 RBC Heritage. This is going to be a combination show. I'm going to give you my top 20 picks. We're also going to do before the lock stuff. So we're going to look at ownership projections. We're going to talk weather, any updates, my thoughts on how this is all going to shake out. I'm going to give you all that information. And with that said, thank you for stopping by. And let's go talk a little golf. All right, so real quick, just some extra information that I've pulled and I just thought I'd share with you guys. So, of course, as discussed in the preview show, Harbour Town has very small greens, averaging around 3,700 square feet, which makes it one of the tougher venues that they play. Then you can see the list there: Southern Hills, Bay Hill, the Country Club, Murfield, Augusta, Riviera, TPC, Potomac, Renaissance Club, and Colonial, which some of those were on the comp courses. I used Colonial. And what else did I use out there? Because a lot of these are majors that I didn't use Riviera. TPC Potomac, which was Avondale Farms, I did use. So long story short, again, what does this state approach and also around the green is very key and short game to be successful at Harbour Town, which, I think we kind of knew a lot of that. Moving on, I also pulled this, which this came from the PGA today, a little bit on the shot link stuff. And the number one thing is also that, it's not about the length. And so I talked to you guys in a preview show. I was kind of back and forth because I was kind of shocked what I saw last year from the guys that do have more distance off the tee and also are more known as ball strikers than strategic or plotters. But where I've ended up falling is where I've typically standed is that we're going to go with good drives. We're looking for guys that know how to place their ball on certain sides of the fairway to have the best approach shot coming in, and then really focus on short game around the green, kind of a focus. So that's where I landed, and that's what I'm going to be using for the pick show. Again, because like a John Rahm, and you've probably heard this quite a bit, the guys that can hit at 340, 350, that's kind of taken out of their hands at this course, unless you're very, very, very accurate, which I don't know a lot of guys that hit at 350 all the time and very accurate. So it takes that kind of advantage out. Hence, while you can see some shockers that could end up here now, typically we don't have this kind of field. Only in 2020 did we have this strength in the past. Proximity of the hole from the rough is the fourth closest at Harbour Town. It is only 1 inch rough, so that could be part of it. I mentioned that the total hole outs is the most on any course. For some reason, and if you remember, watched Jordan Spieth last year, I believe, just off the top of my head, I can remember 3 hole outs he had in round 3 and 4 total. He chipped in from everywhere. So also is how he kind of made his way up the board. I also stated 45% almost of the time. There's a 1-putt percentage. Very, I say, pretty simple flat greens to once you hit on there. So average length of putts made also is the lowest because, again, the chipping comes in. So 64 feet in total of putts made in a round is pretty short, even though there is a lot of 1-putts. But because of so many guys hitting chips within probably 3 feet or so, negates that. And then third lowest on total putts per round, again going back to the chipping. So with all that said, from a statistical standpoint, I'm really good with how I'll be approaching this going forward. And then we do have some weather, which is a little interesting. So if we look at Wind Finder, which we'll do after we look at ownership projections, it's got a little different story than what the PGA just put out today. But right now they're talking about a chance of late afternoon thunderstorms and then chance of scattered thunderstorms through the day on Friday. Looks like Saturday is good. And then again, afternoon thunderstorms. So hopefully we get this whole thing in, not a bunch of start and stops. Feel like we've had a bit of that this season already. Okay, let's go jump over into Fantasy National and let's go do some analysis on these players. Okay, so I've hopped over into Fantasy National, and as always, if you are putting any kind of money on the fantasy side or in betting, and you want to do your own analysis, hey, check out Fantasy National. You can do a 1-month trial and give it a whirl. As always, we're going to be looking at Draftkings pricing, but of course, you can use these picks or information for any FanDuel, Yahoo, whatever you do. I have no filters turned on to the left, but there is all these different filters you can use, and I've already done a lot of pre-work, as always. And what you're going to be looking at here, if this is your first time, which I highly doubt, I'm guessing most of you guys that are with me have seen this quite a bit. But we've got this mini model, if you want to call it, the 5 key stroke gain areas that I will be focusing on to also kind of help me with my pick side. You're going to be looking at good drives, which you can see here is a guy that hits the fairway or first cut and then has a good hits the approach and regulation, approach around the green, That proximity coming in at 25% of the time, 175, 200, and then short game combining around the green and putting. I brought back birdies because these guys, at times, you saw there was, 22 under Stewart Cink. It can get up there even though RBC is always known, and it's really weather dependent on how the scoring goes. So, maybe the rain actually softens it up, makes it easier, keeping it in the fairway, sticking it closer to the pin. We'll have to see how that all plays out. But I did bring the birdies in. And then, of course, we got the last 5 tournaments or recent results that these guys played. And then, of course, tournament history. Get a lot of information in one view. That's why I like this, and that's why I use it to share with you. And if you are curious or trying to, also use my model for your pick side, I've got good drives and approach weighted almost 25 each. And then 17 across the board around the green, that proximity, and then short game. All right. Well, that said, you've got some decisions, as always, at the 11,000 to 10. And I'm kind of going to lump, there's 5 guys from 10,000 to 11,100. Just funny, I've already looked a little bit at ownership projections. So some of my kind of takes, I feel like are already kind of the way that the other folks that have built lineups have already went. But, of course, Jon Rahm is not withdrawing. He is on course, was practicing yesterday. So he's in it to win it. So, do with that what you may. I just feel like Scotty, like these top 3 guys, I'll talk each of them, but the top 2, I just feel like mentally they're just wore out, and the grind, and also, you're kind of negating what John is doing off the tee. I feel like a lot of the guys lower maybe are a little more accurate than what John has been. I mean, if you've watched, he was overcutting the ball when he was playing the fade at the Masters, and he got away with it because Augusta's huge fairways, and also sometimes he gets the straight pull, which also Scotty has. So I feel like I can kind of take away the driver, and if I was going to pick out of the 211s, I'd go with Scotty right off the bat. That's again, John coming off. It's not that he can't handle winning after a major. It's all the obligations. They were talking about this on the Golf Channel, which I agree with. Is everybody's coming up to him during practice, and he's getting pulled in a bunch of different interviews. And I'm sure he's, from Callaway and everybody else, you win the Masters, you're going to have a lot of requests for your time, which could kind of mess with him mentally. And then again, maybe he comes out okay, but I would just guess as the weekend goes on, he's going to probably hit a wall at some point, I guess is what I'm saying. I think they were even talking about his caddy. I think it was up to 4:00 in the morning, just, on the adrenaline of just winning the Masters. So, again, not saying that he can't go out and, top 5, even win this thing, but you got to kind of make a decision. And from a DFS perspective, where I'm going to be kind of landing is starting at Patrick Cantlay, everybody's favorite golfer out there right now. You guys know, I've never been a fan of Patrick Cantlay since day one. And a lot of it's just, I'm a guy that likes personalities, not a big fan of guys that just kind of come off as robots, I guess is the simplest way to put it. I think Patrick Cantlay's game also right. I bet him at the Masters, and he was my pick. And this has happened to me for the whole career of playing fantasy and betting, that I'm usually a week early. It just happens that way. So I got to take my own past historical, analysis and kind of apply it. And of course, Patrick Cantlay has had a very strong record here. They talked to him, and he just loves this course, and he typically does do well where you have to place the ball in certain areas of the fairway and work your way from there. It'll all come down to the putter for Patrick. It's still, I've not seen, typically what he can do on bent greens, and these are not bent, they're Bermuda. So if you're going to make one argument against Patrick, it would be the putter. Jordan, of course, I sent that video out and talked about, even on the preview show, I showed it, where, he just came out and said he's just, hit a wall, but he's the past champion here, kind of backdoored into that win. He'll even state that. So again, just on burnout fatigue, and I'm not saying, let's see, Cantlay, he had a bit of a break here between the Players and the Masters. He played the Arnold Palmer, the Genesis. So, I don't feel like he's played as much as golf as some of these other guys that put in the Valspar. That's what I'm starting. And Morikawa, which again, I don't typically pick, but I'm kind of on the bandwagon and liked what he showed at the Masters. And that he, the guy has, if he has the fade, we know he has the irons around the green is good. It's just the putter. Again, if the putter goes, and I'm willing to say that it's pretty simple greens, pretty flat. I'm not too worried about that. I'm also going to go back to Victor Hovland. Again, I want guys that are very accurate and good ball striking. And so even though he doesn't fit the short game, but I do feel like it's gotten better. I've also seen Victor chipping a ton. I think that, people get a little too worried about his around the green. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's burning a lot of edges when his putter goes, right? 5 birdies in a row, and you'll see it all the time. So that's where I'm kind of landing. Cam Young, I watched him, of course. You can see the driver. He did show up here last year, and that's what started getting me thinking. Even Joaquin Neiman, I think he actually led what may have been first round leader after day one. Also, totally forgot that HV3 led this thing going into Sunday and backed up EVR, who I've been kind of high on and betting. He's just so streaky. Also, was right there in the mix come Sunday. But neither here or there. I don't need what Cameron does from a distance, and his putter also can go streaking. You can see the short game is kind of been his nemesis. Buddy played here once, had a T3. I'd almost probably go to a Finau. I mean, literally, if I'm going to pay that price, or Xander. But Xander's driver, too, is maybe nervous. Now, again, a lot of these guys are going to be hitting driving irons and 3-wood. So, any of these guys up here could be a good play. I'm just going to go back to Max. This is a course that should fit him very well. He also won the Wells Fargo at Avondale Farms, TPC Potomac. Max is my guy. I'm kind of sticking with my guys. Justin Thomas is highlighted, but honestly, I should take it off because he was not going to make my top 20. But I'm very also interested in him. 8,900, right? He missed the cut. He's got everything to come back, and this course should fit him perfect. Great with the irons. You can see he's had an 8th here, but also, an 11th. Also some big ones. It's all, again, the putter with him. The driver, I'm not, again, worried a lot of these guys about the driver because I think they're going to club down off the tee. It's more about position, not length. I already told you I bet Burns, and Burns could do very well here putting on Bermuda. But I got to make some decisions. And you know what? Depending on how ownership comes in, if his ownership stays below 10%, I might swap out for a Sungjae Im because everybody is betting and is all over Sungjae Im. But he's been so streaky again with a putter. Now, typically on Bermuda is where we've seen him do well. But the guy's, just solid all around. It's hard not to pick a Sungjae Im at this course. I also like Tom Kim. I told you guys, first timer on a lot of these courses, RBC is one of them. So if you want to make a reason why you don't want to go with Tom Kim is, you could see the proximity from this 175 to 200 is not that great, which is a little shocking, but that's at least, again, this is over the last 24 rounds. 6 tournaments is where that data is being pulled from. But I mean, when I think of a perfect course for Tom Kim, I think this is one of them. Now, he's blitzkrieged how I feel some of the easiest tracks in golf. One would be Shriners, TPC Summerlin, and then also at Wyndham at Sedgefield. Now, Sedgefield is a little tougher, but still, I mean, guys can go. It's pretty easy. But I don't know. It just kind of fits. But for me, I'm going to probably, keep an eye on projected ownership for that call. Fitzy, this should be a great course for him, but he's had some good showings, but missed the cut last year. Still kind of worried. I mean, it didn't seem like the neck / pinch disc, everything, whatever he had in his neck, it was a problem at the Masters. So that could be real interesting on where he fits in. I think this is more of an ownership play. I think that we're still looking a lot at what Shane Lowry did last year. He did not have Florida swing that he did. The previous, as you see, a 67th. He had a decent Honda. The Players was not that great. I mean, the Masters was whatever. Yeah, I think I'm going to pass on Lowry pretty hard because I feel like, again, from a DFS large GPP tournament, so the 250K, that's what these picks are for, not for your, cash game or whatever. I mean, you could use some of them, but I think you build a cash game, Lowry probably go in it because, again, it's a pretty secure play, but it's not where I'm going to go. I'm actually going to go back to Terrell. I just think, again, that this course should fit him very well. And he's also, has a pretty decent showing. He had a T3 here in the past. But, I mean, the guy typically does the things from the driving and the approach that I want. Also, I think his putting's been a hair off. Let's go take a look at him. Well, we're not going to get to see. That's the problem with the Masters and the Dell match play. So the putter was off, at least at the Valero, but he did gain on the Bermuda, which also was Poa Trivials at the Players. So should be very similar. I actually like Tommy Fleetwood here. He was one of the early bets that I had, I think 55 to 1. And just because I know that he's used to hitting down the 3 woods and whatnot off the tee, it just seems like a really good fit for him. And so I'm going to go with Tommy. Sahith I like. I think his betting was 75 to 1, but again, the distance and he's kind of just gets wild off the tee. So I'm going to say no. I think I'd probably rather go with a Keegan here than a Sahith, but I'm going to pass on both. I'm going to go back to Corey Connors, right? He didn't get to play the weekend. And this course, of course, he's had some good finishes here in the past and it just fits, right? He just hits fairways. The irons can get crazy hot. And the hope is that, he makes some putts. And I'm not so, again, worried about the short game. Russ Henley, good showing at the Masters, been playing good golf. And, right, I mean, almost won the Sony. He did previously, but I mean, the Sony a couple of years back when he went to a playoff with Hideki. He won at, Wailea? What was it? He won OHL at Mayakoba. I think that's what it was. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, Worldwide Tech at the El Chameleon. Anyways, I just like him here. Of course, he's one of my guys. Now you're gonna notice I got a few. You're gonna make some decisions here. So I also pulled in Kuchar and Rose. I should probably unclick those because I felt like I was at what? I'm also kind of slimming this down as we talk. So I'm at 26 guys. So I got M. Kim. I'm gonna go Trell Hatton, Fleetwood, Thagala, Bradley. No, I'm gonna go Connors, Henley. Kuchar and Rose, I think, are great plays, and I will put them in, but I'm trying to keep this kind of slim. But, Kuchar just loves it here. It's a perfect fit for what he does. JR, man, he hit it. I don't know, we don't have the stats, but I know he hit the driver great. And typically putts. I mean, everything he's doing, as long as the irons hold up, this could be a great fit. Ricky has been playing well, as we all know. Price tags, not too much up, but it's still right there in this kind of field. Siwoo Kim, P-Dye specialist. He's won the Players. He's won the Amex. He just hits he hits a ton of fairways, and just this is where he fits in. I honestly think that he changed his putter again, is what I think I heard, or maybe even saw at the Masters that he had that kind of longer. I don't remember to be 100%, but that's kind of interesting because I felt like the putter was. Let's go take a look at his putter for a second. He's never been a good putter at all, but actually, yeah. So here we go. So he was gaining with that longer one and then started to lose strokes, and I feel like he did make a change. So you can call me on that if I'm incorrect, but I think that did happen. He's got a different putter in the bag, at least for the Masters. Wyndham Clark, the guy's been playing great golf, and what has he done here? Not the greatest here, but I feel like his irons have just been so improved. But again, I don't need his distance, so yeah, I'm not Taylor Montgomery. The guy's a putting ridiculous, but you see the irons, everything else you need. We don't need that 300 some yards, 330. I'm going to go back to Chris Kirk. Funny enough, he's had a mixed bag of results here, but this seems like a perfect fit for him. That 175 to 200 is not the greatest, the worst in the field, but everything else is awesome. So I don't know how Keith Mitchell, if you want to get, well, I take that back. Keith Mitchell made the cut at the Masters, but was dead last in the field after that. So I don't know. Do what you want with that. Gary Woodland, actually, I did see this, but he gained a ton of strokes with the putter, which if he's ball striking and also putting, watch out. Of course, one on Pebble Beach, which, some similarities for the U.S. Open, small greens, short, got to, place it, but can't do Gary. I'm going to hold on that. Minwoo Lee, I think he burned a lot of people at the Masters. I was one of those that played a little bit of Minwoo. He had that, T14. He had his first time he played there, did really well, and the guy was playing good, right? A good show at the Players. So funny enough, he'll probably, a good eye to keep on that ownership percentage for Minwoo, because if everybody's off him, I think, it's a good place to jump right back. If he can do that at the Players, and right, I mean, he went in the final group in contention, and then just had that triple bogey that threw him out. Funny enough, I think I said I bet Tom Hogan, and one of you guys commented, which, no problem. I love to hear your guys' comments, that, he's had a terrible record here. And you're right. I mean, 3 missed cuts at T25, but that, we all know that at any moment, the guys who's got his skills, right? So typically he hits a ton of fairways, best irons. The putter could be a little suspicious. Let's go click on Hoagie. So you see driving accuracies way up there. Yeah, the putter is what's been kind of letting him down, but he did pretty well, at least with Arnold Palmer, even though he didn't do anything else. He did putt well. The Genesis, and we don't have some recent stuff. These are his best putting outings actually have been. Just a second here. The Northern Trust, that was a FedEx event. Was that TPC Ball or Liberty National? That was bent. The Byron Nelson, funny enough, that's bent. POA. There's Bermuda. POA. Bermuda. I think that's Bermuda, or is that past Palm? I'm pretty sure it's Bermuda. Yeah, Bermuda. Anyways, like I said, I mean, you got to make your own calls, but I just really like the Hoagie. Webb Simpson, I might play him a little bit in Showdown, depending on what his price tag is, but I still haven't seen enough. But that guy, it's funny. I was looking at, again, watching last year's coverage. I think he came out last year. He bogeyed like the first four holes on the front nine. I don't know what round now, round two or three, and then literally birdied the last five in a row. So, Webb can do that. He's shown that even this year. Adam Scott, one thing that I think of him is those long par threes could be interesting. You know what? Let's do this. Hold on. Let me do something real quick. Okay, so I just made a quick change. And what I did is took the birdies out and I put in this par three 175 to 200 because every par three on this course, which is a defense of this course, is somewhere around, 200 yards. And I could have did 2 to 225, but I thought I want to go with 175 because they're going to change. And why I did that is because I was really curious also on where some of these guys fare out. Funny enough, Kuchar is one of the better. Ricky Fowler is one of the best at these par threes that are that distance. But when we were talking about my buddy Adam Scott, that's funny. I always think of him for those long distance par threes, but his irons have fallen off quite a bit. Where's Hoagie fit? Yeah, not the greatest on those longer par threes. Adam Hadwin's right up there. It was just something else that I wanted to look at. Straka has done really well here, and Donald, when you pull up like the comp courses, I think he came up number one when you take in the ones that I shared with you guys in the preview show, which is like Colonial, PGA National, where they play the Honda. Of course, he won the Honda. So I think it's kind of interesting. Of course, he had a T3 here last year. He was right in the hunt towards the end. Here's English. Look at Denny McCarthy. That's crazy. Now, he was one of my early bets. I talked to you guys about that. But anyways, I like Straka at that price tag. Of course, Wallace, coming off a win. He's been playing pretty good golf. Hadwin, man, the models have been loving him, but the guy has not been producing. So I just got to say no. Probably be the time where Adam Hadwin would come out and just win this thing. You can see not the greatest course history. Sorry, I just kind of skipped through that. I wanted to bring that back. But Denny McCarthy, wow. Hopefully that works out because I did bet him at, I don't even know what it was now. But again, this field, and we're still waiting for Denny to have his first win. Matt McNeely, the only thing you could really do is putt. So no, thank you. Ryan Fox, I don't need your distance. Cage Lee, I kind of looked at, could be interesting. Not the greatest history here, but the guy, man, he just scores. Sam Ryder, I kind of put in the bucket. Seemed like the driver's falling off a little bit back in the irons, but boy, he was just kind of turning it up earlier in the year. Kitayama, no really conversations. I mean, he's the only long shot that has actually won one of these elevated events, and might be an interesting bet. But I guess he does get a little wayward with the driver, as you see. Let's go take a look at Kitty's mama. Yeah, so below 60% is not, and we don't need this distance. So API, it kind of makes sense. Where here we need kind of the plotters. I told you I bet Seabass. I'm not. It's kind of funny, like, hey, you bet him, but I don't know. From a DFS side, maybe he'll get sprinkled in because we just need that driver to be better. He does a lot of the other things I think that you need at this course. Cam Davis, funny enough, he's at 7%. Of course, had a good showing here last year. Also is what I talked about with the whole thing with the Hurricanes and kind of, made this course a little more open. I felt like it worked out a little better for him, but I don't know if I can go there. I'm going to stay with the Ben Martin. This plotter kind of theory, you can see he's doing everything that I want, doing good on the par threes. Justin Suh. I don't know why, but I feel like it's been a while since I've seen him or continue. But I mean, he showed up at the Honda, he showed up at the Players. You can see he's killing it, crushing. I should probably bet this guy, and I have not. So I might go there. You're going to see I got a lot of guys in the sevens. And so I want to call him out because I think Adam Svensson missed a cut at the Masters, but man, this should be a perfect fit. He contended at the Sony. Where did he have his win? I don't know why I'm blanking, but it was recent. Was the Fall Golf? The RSM, which I think is a great comp course. So Svensson, I think could be very live. So you might want to go back to. The Sam Stevens just highlighted. I mean, the guy's just been playing really good golf at 15 apart. I mean, it seems like on the vacation swings or the island courses, which you could kind of consider this coastal course. Aaron Rye, when we get into these, hey, we got to hit the fairway, pretty decent irons. Around the green and putting is where he kind of falls apart, but for $7,000, I think it's a pretty good DFS play. A lot of people are hyping up Mac Hughes, and he also, he won the Sanderson Farms, which, man, that is not where I would have ever guessed him to win the Chicken Open. That just, it's very tight, and it seems like you need to be like a super ball striker. So there's one where if I took the profile of the player and I think of Mackenzie Hughes, putter around the green, and that's like his strong suit. And then the driver and the approach is where he's typically not that great. I mean, you see, he only hits at 300 and not accurate, so that's not good. And you can kind of see like it's just around the green putting, but not the irons. And so it was just very odd that he won this because typically it's like some of the best ball strikers that won that tournament. Sebastian Munoz, Garcia, Sergio Garcia. I'm trying to think who also has won the Sanderson. Sam Burns, another guy, great ball striker. So it was just really kind of I agree I'm going to play. I'm not picking them for you guys because it's kind of like play at your own risk, but kind of like an Adam Svensson, even a Glover. I think I've got marked down. Like I've got my guys that I know can navigate around here to just bad putters. But again, I mentioned to you guys, you don't have to be that great a putter. I think Stefan Jaeger would be fine. JJ Spawn fits the plotter kind of role. Brennan Todd. Instead, I'm going to go with Damon and Nick Taylor. Damon has had pretty decent results here, funny enough. And Nick Taylor has been playing really good golf, has not had that great of results here, but fits him. And right, he also won at Pebble Beach, outdoing Phil the Thrill a few years back for that. And also, right, he showed up at Waste Management, right, is where he had a chance to win. If I remember, all these tournaments are starting to combine. Yeah, second at Waste Management. He's also won Sanderson Farms, but that was so long ago. Sony, good fit. Wyndham, whatever. AT&T, Pebble Beach. Yeah, I kind of like Nick Taylor in this spot. Ben Griffin, he's kind of steady. I don't know. I like him. I play him in Showdown. Danny Willett, no. Pendrith, we don't need your distance. Brandon Wu, great ball. He fits right in there with the griots. Like you probably don't know enough about this guy yet, but what I know about him is, he's very accurate off the tee and pretty good with the irons. It's when the closer he gets to the green, the problems show up. As you can see over here, he gained 7 strokes with the putter at the Players. That's interesting. He also showed up at another guy. I gotta write this down. I'll forget. I need to. I'm gonna bet Wu. And I also, who else did I say there up there? I want to bet, maybe, Suh. I might have a couple all Asian lineups the way this is going. That worked out at where our Kitayama almost won. It was like Tom Kim, just kind of going that way. All right, sorry, I'm kind of scrolling through. No real interest in these. I mean, Akshay, again, I put him with kind of the Sahith Thagala kind of camp where he just little wild. I think Tyler Duncan could be a play down here to be okay. Actually kind of landed on Alex Smalley. He kind of fit, for 6,700 is doing a couple of things that I like. Right, home course is what, Wyndham. I bet Andrew Putnam. I think also you could play him at 6,700. I bet Blackbeard, Michael Thompson. He can plot his way around there. So there's EVR. I'm going to click that. I'm going to probably be a sucker and go back to him. Gary Hago, no. He also fits in my Sahith Thagala Akshay, where they can score, and they're pretty good typically, with like the putting and scrambling because they're so wild off the tee. And I just think at this course, you can't be that. Trying to see CT Pan, of course, past winter, but he's been pretty much in a funk. That was one of those we just lightning in a bottle. Remember watching that tournament pretty closely. Luke List missed a cut here. He's been kind of off for a while here. Told you Glover, Nate Lashley fits the drives, his long irons, but he's missed a cut both times, but I've kind of highlighted him, low ownership. So these are kind of my contrarian plays down there. Of course, Stewie Sink won here a couple years back and also won way back, I think 04. Let's go look at that for you guys. Here's the information that you probably won't get from anyone else so I mentioned to you, right here, MCI Heritage back in 2004 at Harbortown. So there you go. He's a 2-time winner, which a lot of people probably don't know. Okay. Mark Hubbard. Peter Malnati's been scoring well. And I say that because he's a really good chipper putter, good around the greens. It's what he can do. Let me go look at what Malnati's been doing here. He almost won the Sanderson Farms a couple times. Oh, he did win it back in 2000. I remember this one, 2020. I didn't even know he actually won it then. So there you go. Maybe there's some crossover I mean, but it's such an elite field now here that, but maybe there is because I know you have to be very, very accurate. It's a very long and tree line course. So hey, maybe there's something there. Malnati, I'm gonna click him. Could be a sneaky play, less than 1%. Zach Johnson makes total sense for this course and has been playing pretty decent golf. I guess he had a come to Jesus meeting they were talking about with his whole team and himself to refocus and really work hard on committing back. He didn't like the what he was doing back in 20 what is season 2022. So all right, I think that's it. I mean, Knox, typically will hit fairways and greens. He just is so bad around the putter. Adam Long could work his way. Ches Reavie should be actually a good fit for this course, but he hasn't had that great. I mean, typically what Ches Reavie does is hit fairways really good with his irons, and he just showed up at the Valero. So if you want someone that's kind of sneaky, so let's go take a look at this. So you had a second at Pebble Beach. You won the Travelers, which that's TPC River. Yeah, so that's funny enough a Pete Dye course if you're interested, but a lot of people say there's not correlation there. Ches Reavie would be a sneaky play, less than 1%. Throw that there. Sadoshi, past winner. You can see he hits the fairways at approach. Been a little rough on everything else, but he's hit these things. I like to see. I haven't looked at tee times yet, but if he's early morning, maybe put him for a first round leader bet. Party Marty. I also remember Streb came out or Jim Furyk. That's gonna be interesting. I haven't even looked at his what he's been doing on the senior tour, but he made the cut. Let's go look at this real quick. We're gonna do a little history here because I'm trying to remember what he did on his opening round at the Sony. That's like the only cut he's made. All right, bear with me here. That's what I thought. Okay, this is what I remember. So Jim Furyk came out round one at the Sony and shot a 62. Only Henley and Na did better. So he shot a 65 at the end too to bookend that thing. That's crazy. That's another play down here that you might want to make. I have not looked at what he's been doing on the senior, or I should say the Champions Tour. All right. I also told you guys I got my FOMO bet with Richie Wierenski. Do not bet it. But if it hits, I'm about 100 grand richer. I'll put it that way. I don't even have the slightest. I think Jim Herman probably got a better shot. Streb came out of nowhere last year here. Funny enough, he was up there in the leaderboard. He must have really fell apart on the weekend. Okay, I think that's enough. From an analysis side, you guys got a lot of ideas. I think I ended up actually adding back to 29. So, okay, so to summarize who I'm looking at, I'm giving you quite a few more picks than I typically do because kind of some interesting ones to get differentiation below. But my guys going in to start would be Cantlay, Morikawa, Hovland, Homa, kind of the top guys. Then you kind of get down a little bit down to the on-deck guys. You want to say my middle. Sungjae Im, Tom Kim, Hatton, Fleetwood, Connors, Henley, Siwoo getting down into lower. Kirk, Hoagie, Taylor Moore, Straka, Denny McCarthy, Ben Martin, Justin Suh. I'm going to bet Justin Suh. I don't know what his odds are even at, but I'll guess it's 100 plus in this field. Adam Svensson, Sam Stevens. I'll click off him. I'll play him in Showdown, but I don't know how much I'll put it. I just still don't know enough. Aaron Rai would be a safe play. So if you're filling out your lineup and you really like the 5 guys you have and you want the guy that's going to get you to the weekend, but typically doesn't score a lot of DraftKings points, Aaron Rai is there, but he'll get you to the weekend. Nick Taylor, Joel Damon, Alex Smalley. EVR is a pure upside play. Glover, again, these are guys just to fill out your bottom. If I had to pick my favorite upside play would be EVR at 6,700. Maybe Joel Damon next. For more of your safer plays, Aaron Rai, Nick Taylor, Glover. Let me just see something here. He's made the last 3 cuts. I mean, the guy, yeah. I don't know. Out of those guys, and I think, if you want to get sneaky, like I said, Furyk might be one of those guys. All right, that gives you some ideas. Let's go look at ownership just real quick. As always, right now there's almost 8,000 lineups, so a lot of lineups have been created and generated from Fantasy National and to DraftKings. That's where this number is coming from. It's the most accurate ownership projection number that I see out there. So I recommend it if you are trying to figure out who do you want to get different. Now, I told you guys, Morikawa, funny enough, it's up there number one. You got Scheffler, Cantlay. So two of my guys, and hence why I said you got to get a little unique. Everybody's betting Lowry. I think Lowry could be the super chalk bomb. So I'm going to try to avoid him again in the large GPP. Also, Cam Young, I think I'm going to avoid him. I think everybody's on that, what he saw at the Masters. Yeah, I don't think that he'll miss the cut, but I don't think he will get you a top 5 again. That's my theory. JT could be a huge, upside play. Kuchar's your kind of steady, condom play if you want to say. Victor Hovland, Hatton, Homa, Spieth, Xander. It's funny, a lot of people aren't playing Spieth. Well, not a lot, but I would expect his ownership to be a little higher. But 10-4, 10-4, good buddy, could be a reason why. A lot of people on the Tom Kim. All right, and if you see stars, that was my picks. Where's Henley at 10%? Hoagie's at 8%, so I was guessing more people maybe would stay away from him. Svensson, I like that play at 7. Taylor Moore at 6. Nick Taylor, Sam Stevens, Substraka less than 5. Damon. So here's your differentiator plays. As we get down here, Glover way down there. Smalley, Lashley. Holy cow. I was just curious where Furyk was. Where is Furyk's ownership? Sorry, let's go check this real quick. I don't feel like keep scrolling all over. His name's not. Less than 1%. Okay. What's my buddy Michael Thompson? Less than 1%. Blackbeard. I don't know why. This course should have fit him. All right, real quick. Let's go check over at Windfinder. I'm telling you this because I want you guys to know if you are playing Showdown or anything else, you're going to want to pull up Windfinder and use Harbortown Yacht Basin. That is literally, I think it's the yacht club you see right next to the light tower there. So you can't get much closer than that. And right now, funny enough, like I said, weather looks fine today for the practice rounds and the Pro-Am. You can see that they are stating some rain. It's funny, I never show lightning on here. Maybe you have to look down there. Never noticed the lightning bolts. But it is showing weather in the afternoon. And I haven't really thought, is there really an advantage? I mean, I guess morning late if I was going to do anything right now, AM, PM. So some thoughts on that. Just, I mean, more of it's the wind. Looks like it's going to kick up in the rain. And, but if there's any lightning, those guys are going to get pulled off the course. So that is looking at super forecast, which I recommend for the first 2 days. That's the days, honestly, that I kind of care about the most when you're doing this because weather is going to change so much. And really, it's get the guys through the weekend. Looks like Saturday's your best day, and then Sunday here is saying no rain. So I guess we'll see how that all works out. More of this was use this right here on Windfinder to keep an eye on that weather. All right, let's jump out of here and wrap this up for you guys. Okay, guys, thanks so much again for spending some time with me. And if you would do me the honor, as always, click that like button, share with anybody else, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and hit me up on Twitter. I keep an eye on everything that you want to know about your tournament withdrawals, anything I see that could possibly give us an edge. I'm going to watch some of the pressers, but I think all of us, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a bit of a golf Masters hangover from the, we had the match play right into the Masters. I mean, the Valero had that break, but I'm excited. It was one of my favorite tournaments. It's just, man, it's been a lot. And then I think we have a bit of a, I don't want to say a break, but you got Zurich. I don't know if I'll do anything for that. I have to take a look for the team play. We also have the Mexico Open coming. So it's going to kind of be a little downside. And I'll probably do like a show per is kind of what I'm thinking for the more minimal tournaments and then fire it back up as we get back into designated. And I think we have the PGA Con. All right. All the best of luck to us at the RBC Heritage. Enjoy the tournament. Hope that we don't get some delays again. And I'll talk to you guys. Well, I'll probably do something for the Zurich. So talk to you guys next week. All right. Take care.